curious to see how Wyatt's gonna react with me being gone for almost 2 days.
So I... Oh, you're recording.
Hey. Did you miss me, bud? Did you miss me? Were you sleeping? Were you sleeping? Did you miss me? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm on a road trip again, this time up into northern Vermont. I'm heading to a place called Nicole's Pond Ledge, which basically overlooks Nicole's Pond. We have all the fall foliage going on right now, and hopefully I can capture a southwest facing Milky Way over the pond. I know some of the core might be hidden, but that's quite all right. My only concern is the clouds. They're supposed to clear up, but I'm hoping they do it fast enough before the moon rises. The moon is supposed to rise around 10:45, so when that happens, it's going to wash out the night sky, but it will illuminate the foreground quite nicely, so I might use it to my advantage just to kind of blend the Milky Way and the nice illuminated foreground, but we'll see how that goes. I'm also going to stop at a few other locations along this route. There's a place called Glen Moss Waterfall in Granville. I'm gonna check that out, but I think the lighting might be a little too harsh right now to photograph it, so I might have to go back there early in the morning. And there's a small town called Stowe, I believe, which has a really nice church steeple that a lot of people photograph with the fall colors behind it, and it looks really pretty, so I'm going to check that out as well. And then tomorrow on the way home, I'm probably going to stop in upstate New York at the Adirondack Mountains. Not sure exactly which hike I'm going to do just yet, but I'll figure that out and I'll let you know tomorrow. Also, you might have noticed a dog at the beginning of this video. His name is Wyatt, and we rescued him a little less than a month ago. He's such an awesome dog. He is part black-mouthed cur and part hound. And he's about a year old from what they estimate. In fact, this month is his birthday month, so I can't wait to celebrate that with him. But I've been working on training him, so I hopefully have a awesome travel buddy in the future. He's a little shy and timid at the moment, but I've been taking him to the dog park and working with him on that agility training course, and I really can't wait to get him out up in the mountains and on future hikes. So be prepared to see more of him in the future as well. I'm at Moss Glen Falls, and I'm just photographing this smaller waterfall right here. The main one is a little further down, which I'm about to go to next. Typically you want to do this earlier in the day or later in the evening when the sun is less harsh. Right now it's midday. I got this harsh sunlight. It's not really helping my foreground at all. It's kind of hurting me, but there are some clouds in the sky, so I'm kind of waiting for a cloud to kind of soften that light, and that way I can do some long exposures and not have too many hot spots from the sun. So I'm going to work my way over to the main waterfall while these clouds are starting to roll in. Alright, so I just finished photographing Moss Glen Falls, and unfortunately the light was just too harsh. The clouds are too intermittent and too short of time frames that they're covering the sun, so I couldn't get some long exposures that were nice even light. So I might come back early in the morning. It's about an hour and 20-minute drive from my destination, so it's a little bit out of the way, but I do have to head down back south after tomorrow anyway, so I could probably make it work and get here before the sun is too high in the sky. So if I leave early enough, I should be able to make it here. So that's the plan, but at least I got to scout it out and got familiar with the compositions that I would like to achieve. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. So I just finished taking pictures of Stowe Church against the fall foliage, which came out really nice. A bunch of clouds did roll in and it flattened out the light, which is okay. I actually wish I had those earlier for the waterfall, but that's how life works. You know, when you need the clouds, they're not there. And of course, now I'm nervous that they're not going to go away for later tonight to photograph the Milky Way. So, you know, hopefully they do start to clear up and scatter. But if not, maybe I'll get a really nice colorful sunset from Nicole's Pond Ledge. So we'll see. But I'm just going to make the best of the situation that I have. That's all you can ever do. I'm actually going to come back to this location though later tonight to sleep. It's about a 45-50 minute drive from Nicole's Pond Ledge. And at least here there's public parking and there is a porta potty. So if I have to use the restroom, I have something available to me. It also puts me in closer proximity to the waterfall, so I could get up early in the morning, drive back that way, and get the shots that I really wanted. And then I'll work my way over to the Adirondacks. So let's head to Nicole's Pond Ledge. The road's getting really narrow, but I see signs for Nicole's Ledge. It looks like I'm a little past peak though, so unfortunately there's a lot of patches of bare trees. It is what it is, but I don't know, I guess maybe last new moon I should have tried it, but I feel like that might have been a little too early in September, so it's kind of a little tricky to get a new moon and the perfect fall foliage. Sorry, it's a little bumpy right here, but yeah, I'm just gonna make the best of it. When I got to the top, it was very windy, causing my microphone to cut in and out. And I was also running into issues with my GoPro, and the cold weather is causing it to stop recording. But basically, the camera on the right was my Nikon Z6, and I had the 14-24 with the adapter attached to it. I was using the Fullography Unleashed and capturing a day to night time lapse. And then the camera on the left is my Nikon Z7 with the 20mm 1.8S lens. And what I was doing was photographing more of the foreground, and I was trying to wait till astronomical twilight to capture that, so I had some illumination on all that fall foliage. And then I was going to pan the camera up when it was true night and the Milky Way was in the right position to do a stack of the Milky Way photos and then combine those together. Now, as you're going to see, the clouds did not disperse in the upcoming time lapse. what I'm doing right now is a long exposure, around 10 seconds, and I actually might do a couple of them and stack them together. But basically, the long exposure is going to get the spinning of these leaves right here that are pushed out to the side of the waterfall. You can see them rotating counterclockwise. So if I do a long enough exposure, I'm going to capture that movement. Good morning, everybody. It is day 2 and I am back at Moss Glen Falls. I got here around 7:30 a.m. and the lighting was perfect. I had about an hour to an hour and a half of shooting time, which was more than enough time to experiment with different compositions. I did some focus stacking, which maybe I'll do a brief little tutorial in this vlog for you guys, since last night was a bust. I was trying to photograph the Milky Way. I was trying to wait it out, but those clouds just remained in the southwest and west direction. They cleared up behind me and above me, but unfortunately the direction I was photographing in, they did not break up at all. I was hoping to get some gaps in the clouds, that way I could get some of the Milky Way to show through, but unfortunately they were just a blanket of clouds, and it pretty much covered the whole night sky in that direction. So it sucks. It's life. That's how it goes. I'll have to come back next year and retry, but it is what it is. I still had some gorgeous shots around sunset of that beautiful view from atop of Nicole's Pond Ledge. So I still recommend checking out that spot because it is gorgeous up there. But as far as the Milky Way goes, I'll have to wait until September or October of next year. Alright guys, so unfortunately I didn't luck out with a Milky Way shot on this trip, so I'm going to show you guys how to do a focus stack or a focus shift, which, you know, there's a bunch of videos on this already on YouTube, so I'm going to kind of run through this relatively quickly. Now typically this technique works great when you have an object in your foreground and you also want the background to be in focus as well. So a lot of these newer cameras have this built in already where it'll automatically shift your lens focus and take a series of photos. So for example, with my Z7 here, I had it set up to take 5 photos and I ended up deleting one because I just didn't need it. Sometimes it could get everything in focus with only 3 or 4 shots. It really depends on how complex the shot is and what your f-stop's at. So I shot this at f11. My shutter speed was 6 seconds to give me that smooth water. This was at 16.5 millimeters and my ISO was 64, and I was using a 3-stop ND filter. Now a couple tips: you usually want to stop down your lens between f8 to f11. You don't really want to go too much over because you'll start introducing diffraction with the lens and actually make things a little less sharp, but you really want to find that sweet spot with your lens. Another tip is to use a tripod to make life a little easier when you go to blend all these photos back together. So let me just zoom in here. You can see this first shot I took of the moss and the leaf. Everything's nice and sharp, and then it starts to get blurry as we look at the background. So then the next shot that the camera took, oops, it's just loading really quick. It pretty much got focus all right here on this mossy log again, but just a little further back. You can see it's starting to get a little soft in the front. The fourth shot is going to be more of this center area. So all these rocks are nice and sharp. And the back is starting to get sharp too, but it's not quite there yet until we get to our last shot. And it's nice and crisp. Now if you don't have a camera that'll automatically shift the focus for you, you could just do this manually with your focus ring, or you could just focus on different parts of composition. So focus right in the front first, then focus right in the middle, and then focus in the background, and then take those 3 shots and blend them together in Photoshop, which is what we're gonna do next after I do a brief edit really quick. So I just wanna increase my whites a little bit. I'm gonna raise the exposure. You know what, I'm gonna raise the shadows a little bit too. We'll increase the vibrance and my saturation. Now I really like to use the luminance to enhance some of the foliage. So I got a little bit of orange and yellow in there, and definitely the green, and that's going to brighten that up. And I'll do the red too for the leaf. And I'll also increase the saturation of the red. going to sharpen this up a little bit to around 55. And I'm going to leave everything else as is. So I'm going to copy these settings and paste them to my other images. And then I'm going to open all these into Photoshop. Let's go to Photo, Edit in, Open as layers in Photoshop. Alright, so we have all the images in Photoshop, and I'm going to make a copy because sometimes when it blends them it doesn't do the best job, so I like to have my backup copies in case I have to finagle something. So we're going to take these copies and we're going to go to Edit, Auto Align Layers, leave it on Auto and hit OK. And then after we auto align, you want to go to Edit, Auto Blend Layers. And we're going to stack images, leave these all checked, seamless tones and colors, content aware fill transparent areas. Yes, please. Alright, so here's our final merged image that Photoshop created for us. You can see the 4 images here, they all have layer masks on them, and sometimes you might have to go in there and fine tune these. It doesn't always get everything perfect, but let me just zoom in here. I think it did a pretty good job right off the bat. So here's my foreground, nice and sharp. And then the rocks and the waterfall look really sharp as well. Trees look pretty good. Yeah, it did a pretty decent job. So I'm gonna flatten this layer. I'm just gonna make a copy. And I just want to show you guys, if you have Nik software, how awesome it is for fall foliage. So go to Color Effects. So here's our image, and one thing I love to use in Color Effects Pro is the Foliage Filter. Right now it's on green, and I'm going to isolate this to this part of the image so it's not applying it to everything. I'm going to do Add Filter and select Foliage again. And this time I'm going to put the yellow up here with the yellow trees and really enhance those. Do Add Filter again. I like to use the skylight filter not just for sunsets and sunrises, but also to warm up my image and make colors pop a little bit more too. So I'll show you guys. Here's the before. It's a little on the cooler side, and now it's a little warmer, and it really enhanced the foliage a little bit more as well. I'm going to do Add Filter again and choose Pro Contrast. And then we're going to add a little bit of dynamic contrast. And that just makes it pop a little bit more. And I'm going to do Add Filter one more time. And again, this is all subjective on how much you want to do. So I'm going to do Glamour Glow. Some people like to do the Orton effect and just make it a little softer. Let's go with Glamour Glow. Oh, selected the wrong one. There we go. This is just going to give it a little bit more of that dreamy effect. And we'll hit OK. Alright, so here's the new image, and if you feel like you went a little overboard, you always dial it down by changing the opacity and just toning it down a little bit. So before, after, and you know, I'm going to bring this back up a little bit more. Alright, I'm going to show you guys one more tip on how to enhance some of the foliage. So we're going to change this layer to color. And make sure you have a layer underneath it. That's normal. And you can see how parts of this leaf are starting to, break down and turn brown. Well, I'm going to select my brush and select this nice red color. Change the opacity to to around 10%. And my brush, that's good. And I'm actually just gonna start painting on the brown part of the leaf and try and bring it back to life a little bit. Let's increase the opacity a little bit more. Yeah, I'll make the brush a little bit bigger too. So any of the parts that are starting to rot away, you could just kind of bring them right back to life. So here's the before, here's the after. Just gonna make it stand out a little bit more. And we could always spot heal some of these damaged parts of the leaf as well. So yeah, hopefully this gives you guys some ideas on how to enhance your fall foliage images and clean things up a little bit. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.